Aloha. Yeah. Everyone hear me okay? Oh, yeah. Right on. Welcome to Austin, Texas. This is where I live, so I'm stoked to be here. Each of us is going to have 5 minutes to talk about our personal story and then what we're doing currently and what we're doing in the future. And then we'll do some questions internally, and then we'll open it up for audience questions at the end. So, and so I want to introduce each person just by name real quick, right? So my name is Ian Benouis. This is Amber Capone, Marcus Capone, and John Lubecky. Awesome. And so, John, why don't you please go first, and yeah, tell us about yourself.
So, since this is a veterans panel, yes, I am a veteran. I served 4 years in the Marine Corps, 8 years in the Army. I went back in after 9/11, and I was what's known as a DMOD, designated marksman on Overwatch detail with Barrett. And my big claim to fame is I got blown up in a porta-john. It's one of the shittiest places to get blown up, but you know, hey, you don't get to pick it. I get to tell that joke for the rest of my life, so I definitely use it out. But I came back with crippling PTSD. And by crippling PTSD, within 60 days of coming home, on the very early morning hours of Christmas 2006, after going to a church and being turned away, after going to an Army hospital and being they gave me 6 Xanax and said, give your guns to a neighbor. Don't take all the Xanax at one time because you'll kill yourself. I went home, I loaded a Beretta 9mm and put it to my temple, and I pulled the trigger. That was the first time I did that. Squib load. Second time was a broken spring. I tried to overdose on opiates, and I tried to slip my wrist, or I did slip my wrist twice. So when I say crippling PTSD, that's the level that I had. And entirely by accident, because an intern was filling in at the VA, I found out about the MDMA trial that MAPS was doing. I had never heard of them. I had never done psychedelics. And I reached out for help, in part because I figured I'm going to die any day anyway, so why not? And they took me in, they healed me, and I went from being inpatient at a VA medical center to being Rand Paul's National Veterans Director on his presidential campaign in 2 years because I went through this therapy. And just this morning, I actually went to the F1 race on the other side of town, and I was walking around and I realized I'm amongst tens of thousands of people from around the world speaking all sorts of different languages, all wearing backpacks. You know, these are all major triggers, and I was walking around smiling, happy as a clam. And before I'd gone through this, I would have been crumpled up in a ball somewhere or climbed to a tower and jumped off. That's the kind of impact that this has, you know, not just for veterans with PTSD, but anyone suffering with trauma. And one of the things I consistently say, you know, I thank Rick all the time for saving my life because he truly did. This therapy is the reason that my stepson has a father who's engaged and happy and a good father instead of a folded flag.
Wow. John, it was an amazing story, so tough to go after you, but I get it. First want to say, yeah, Rick, of course, thank you. Paul, thank you for the work you're doing. And Claire, who just came on and talked about Ibogaine, thank goodness I don't have to talk about it. I just unfortunately was on the receiving end the first time I had a psychedelic experience. So that's how I tiptoed into the industry. But I want to thank everyone here in the psychedelic community that have been so persistent in understanding what these medicines have done for so many years, and for guys like us who are now stepping into this environment and learning that, you know, a weekend of, you know, psychedelic-assisted therapy can change your life. And it's just been amazing. And my story's a little bit different. What I thought as an all-American kid, I was a scholarship football player in college, and I wanted to do something different. I thought jumping out of airplanes sounded cool. So I went in the Navy. I spent 13 years as a Navy SEAL, deployed 7 times to combat zones. And it was, initially it was an exciting road, but it turned into be a very difficult road, as you can imagine. It's why we're up here today. I was part of a very special elite unit, and we were tasked to do some of the nation's most difficult duties. And, after 30, 40, 50 funerals and memorials and broken families, it was time to take a break. And what I thought would be easy, coming home, was maybe the most difficult thing that I was tasked with. And it almost, I almost lost my wife, my child who's here. Love you, buddy. Love you. We're so connected now because of this. It's pretty awesome. So thank you again, all of you. And I was struggling, and behind my back, Amber was working with a psychologist who had been introduced to an ibogaine therapist and said, you know what, I think this is it. If Marcus doesn't get treated now, she called her parents and said, I'm going to be gone in 2 years. And so with the help of some individuals and 5 brain clinics later, 7 years of SSRIs, not that the VA isn't meaning, like they mean well, but the system is broken. Everybody knows that. And so I ended up in Mexico at a clinic, and I was given a flood dose of ibogaine, which, if Claire just spoke about, is not the easiest of medicines. And I had no idea that for 10 hours I was going to go to hell and back. And that's what ibogaine does to you, Matt. You're laughing over there. Yeah. Tell you what, you do ibogaine, you're not going to be laughing for that much. But, I can't say anything more. With our traumas, childhood traumas, I was bullied as a kid. I turned 18, I gained some muscles, and then I think I took that rage out on a lot of people. And with the transition and the war, and, it just bottled up to just explode. And the ibogaine really reached down and just said, backhanded me and said, hey, straighten out your shit and let me show you how to deal with this trauma. And so Saturday morning I woke up and said, what the heck just happened? And then about 48 hours later, I visited another very mild psychedelic. They called it Toad, 5-MeO DMT. You go to about 0 to 100 in about 3 seconds. So another life changer. And once I came to and started to process a little bit, I turned to my wife and I said, honey, we need to raise money and we need to treat as many individuals that are suffering just like me. And since then, we raised a little bit of money last year to send 120 Navy SEALs and Special Operations veterans Yeah, this shit is working and it's real. It's very real. And it's pretty amazing. I'm very excited, as you can tell, to talk about it. So I'm going to get off my horse now, but life is good. We all go through our roller coaster of challenges, but the psychedelic meds really, it just changed my view on everything, and I'm just so excited to be part of this community and help heal everyone who needs healing. We got a big mental health problem, major traumatic brain injury issue, and we're going to figure this out. So on that, I'm going to turn it over to my better half, because I know she wants to speak. Thank you for having me.
I'm Marcus's wife. I met Marcus when I was 17, and instantly I was enamored. My dad was his football coach, recruited him to play college football, and it was a bit controversial when we started dating, but I knew that over the years it would pay off. And I didn't understand when Marcus watched G.I. Jane and decided he wanted to be a Navy SEAL. what that would mean. But in college, he was a bit older than me and decided that he wanted to go into the Navy, he wanted to be a SEAL. I had no idea what a SEAL was, and there was no war. So we amicably decided to break up, and then I found out that I was pregnant. What these kids have gone through in this war rivals veterans on some level. And I'm fighting for the women and children alongside the guys. So when Marcus decided he wanted to be a SEAL, and we decided to break up, and then we found out that I was pregnant, and off to Coronado, I went for SEAL training with Marcus. I didn't go through SEAL training, but I supported him all the way, not knowing what the following years would entail. And Marcus was the first BUDS class, which is SEAL training class, to graduate post 9/11. So I have so much respect for this era of SEAL, or veteran, because they had no idea what they were getting into and found themselves in almost 2 decades of war. I knew that the war deployments were treacherous, but that is what I knew. And it became, that dysfunctional became normal. And so when Marcus got out, I naively thought, that our life had kind of been in decline, but getting out was the answer. And it would be so much easier on the other side. That was the biggest misconception I've ever had. It was complete hell. And it wasn't making sense because every year was getting worse. And so by default, you're thinking like, gosh, this should be getting easier, not harder. And then in 2016, one of Marcus's friends committed suicide, and thank goodness his wife had the wherewithal to donate his brain. It came back that he had some degenerative brain things going on, and then everything made sense to me. Marcus had played 15 years of football, followed by 13 years as a preacher, working with explosives, and so I just knew that there was more than PTSD, and I immediately went into action. We've got to get him into brain clinics. We've got to find a way to stop this degeneration, which causes a myriad of symptoms that overlap with PTSD. Nothing was working, and so I went to visit him. He was at 3 different clinics. Actually, doing hyperbaric oxygen twice a day. He was at 2 other brain clinics simultaneously, and I was so disheartened because he was worse than he'd ever been. And I got on a plane less than 24 hours later, and my dad is a football coach, and he's taught me don't quit. And I had to tell my parents I have no choice but to quit because this is not sustainable. And then I remembered that one other SEAL had a treatment that saved his life, and this was the last ditch effort. Thank God it worked. And Marcus's, like he said, he came through the weekend, and immediately we were like, we've got to be on the front lines. We've got to be helping people. It's not been easy, but we definitely are proud to be leading the way for veterans to receive therapies that are actually working.
I grew up in Hawaii in the 70s where cannabis was decriminalized, and part of the culture, really part of the island culture, it was before DARE, so I hadn't been polluted with that. And then in Hawaii, after U.S. military operations started to use the helicopters on U.S. soil to do cannabis eradication. And it was called Green Harvest, and so we started that in Hawaii. And that led to the U.S.'s first methamphetamine epidemic. It came, of course, from Japan, which was culturally using that drug. So I went to West Point and entered the Army as a second lieutenant and flew Black Hawk helicopters in Operation Just Cause in the Republic of Panama, which was really the biggest deployment directly correlated to the war on drugs. And Nori was General Aid. I'd been a West Point classmate of mine in my company 2 years earlier. So I had that experience, and of course it's not Iraq or Afghanistan at all, so I don't have any trauma from combat. But I got out and had my spiritual awakening, my spiritual crisis. A veteran robbed and burned my house down, and later killed himself because he was mentally ill, and I almost drowned. My wife left me, and I'm like, oh, the universe is trying to get my attention. And so I started to apply medicines back because I worked with them in high school. Mushrooms grew all around my high school in Hawaii, on the cow patties and the cows that were grazing around there. And so I went back to the medicines that I knew would work, and I spent a couple years. Well, I worked. This is all while I was working as a pharmaceutical rep for Pfizer here in Austin, Texas, and they were launching all the synthetic opioids and the SSRIs. And so I was deep in my first round of medicine healing, and to be in a position where I could be a good husband and a good father. And I did that for a couple of years. This is back in the days when the internet was first coming online. You could get substances on the internet that were still not regulated or were still actually legal. And you had all these sort of basic shamans out there at the internet sharing information online and using these things. And so that got me to where I could raise a family. And then 5 years ago, I encountered veterans here in Texas, the first normal summit. And these veterans were telling their stories exactly like this. And I was sitting in the audience and I was just crying. I'm like, well, why am I crying? What's going on here? And I realized, I have things that I need to do, that I have to fix. I didn't understand there was a thing called trauma even at that point, or that I had any of it or any of that stuff. I thought bad things happen to other people, and just, fight or just drive on. And so then I went back into the plant medicine, so I knew they worked, and then I've been sharing those with other veterans since then, taking veterans to Mexico for toad and IBA, and Peru for ayahuasca and other plant medicines. And it works. It works. I mean, of course, it works in community. It does not work in isolation. And taking someone into the shop and ripping them apart and kicking them out the door doesn't work. And in fact, because we don't make them worse. So what we're doing, at least in Veterans for Natural Rights as a kind of an organization, is making sure that people have the support system going through this, that someone else who's done the medicine can be their sponsor and be there for them the whole time. We know that's really important to make all this stuff work. So that's maybe a good lead in there to ask you, Amber, about secondary PTSD, and then being in a relationship where then both partners have it doesn't really involve some out of the source, the type of have PTSD, they're trying to work through their individual traumas at the same time and stay in a relationship and be functional in the rest of society.
That's a great question. I go to my faith for working through the traumas personally, but it was the worst conundrum of my life to feel like I had to choose between my children and my husband. And I was choosing because of something that was largely out of my husband's control. And by choosing my children, I probably was greatly increasing the chances that they would be fatherless. And so it's like, I had come to the end of all of the other options. And to feel, I know so many of my girlfriends are feeling the same way, that they feel so badly for their husbands, they just don't know how to help. I personally feel that, just giving these guys back to medicine and saying, like, you have a disorder, go, talk to someone about it, is it frustrating them even more. So I felt like I was okay with myself. I was doing what I could do to heal. But to be there for my children and be there for Marcus, I was on this teeter-totter of choosing between, it's like there's no right choice, but I had to choose my children. So I knew that by stabilizing Marcus, our family would become more stable. And so I just zeroed in on him. And, I like I said, it was the last try.
And ultimately, what you had to do was a triage, right? It's like we have to do in the military, to triage the situation and decide who needed to be, I don't want to say taken care of first, so other people can get taken care of next.
Absolutely. We were sitting in we not really started to see that many suicides in the SEAL community, but there were some here, some there, and then they really started. And I was sitting in a chapel. I'd been to that chapel for countless funerals, and I thought, this is the next wave if we don't do something about it. And there are a lot of kids who've lost their fathers. They might have a pulse, their heart might still be beating, but they've lost their dad. And so we just went into full tilt. How do we help? What do we do? How do we problem solve?
Marcus, it's been mentioned that childhood trauma is a high correlator to, getting PTSD in service, and you kind of alluded to that a little bit, and maybe you could share your thoughts a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. So, without any research or evidence, just going off of individuals that we know that have been friends of ours that have been treated over the border, it's still a little crazy, right? Like Amber and I, we curse it off this all the time. Our guys do 10, 15, 20 combat deployments, and then they come home and they got to go outside the U.S. to get treated and healed. It's pretty sad, And so, again, we're just trying to fix that. The childhood trauma, it's the perfect recipe for us. I think what's happened and what we've seen through our questionnaires and a retrospective study that was done on the first 65 individuals that we know that were treated, many of them had childhood trauma. Myself, I was a skinny kid growing up. My parents put me in school at 4 years old, and I was bullied, if you can imagine that. And like I said earlier, at 18, I think all that rage built up, and I started taking it out on everybody and everything, and then which landed me into, arguably one of the, I don't want to say anything, sorry, there are a few veterans here, but in my opinion, one of the top-rated fighting units in the world. But to get there, you gotta have some issues, right? Like, we don't take choir boys in the SEAL team. We take hardened dudes that had some real shit going on growing up. And so you take childhood trauma, and you take wartime trauma, right? You bury a bunch of your friends, or you see some people that were killed, or you go on your first target and a lady hands you a baby with a dowel stuck up its ass. Like, how do you get that memory from that in your mind, right? And then you finish with wartime trauma, and you go home, you have transition trauma, which Amber talked about. It's just a recipe for disaster. And head trauma, thank you. I played football since I was 7 years old, so thank goodness for IBD.
John, you still have lots of friends in service, and you're this, you're lobbying in DC, and you're this face of this work that we're all doing here with these medicines for healing. What are some of the resistances of people that are still in the service, right? That you find when you talk to them, what are their concerns, what are their objections, what are the social stigmas, what are they worried about?
It gets really interesting because to answer that question, it all depends on what their job is and where they are in the hierarchy. So, for example, a lot of the lower ranking guys, captains and below, like staff sergeants and below, that's actually where the stigma kind of actually helps us. They're like, oh, I get to do ecstasy? Yeah, hell yeah, I'll sign up. Where do I sign up? And that helps. But once you start getting up to the higher ranks, it gets really interesting. And the most amazing thing that I found really, really surprising was it's the medical side that is the roadblock, because their answer is it's not FDA approved. No, period, full stop. But then I go and I talk with combat commanders. These are, realize we've been at war for almost 20 years. So, the guy who's a 3 or a 4-star general today was a major or lieutenant colonel on 9/11. They've led men in the field. They have friends who've served for 20 plus years. They've lost friends to suicide. They have friends that they're close with that are suffering from PTSD each and every day. And then there's the people that served under them, because we, in the military, they train you to make that hard call and say, hey, you go in knowing that some of those people may not come back out. What we can't train leaders to do is to accept that 3 years later they're going to blow their brains out at home, far from the battlefield, alone in the dark. And so
MAPS has actually had the most success with combat commanders because they understand it, and a lot of them are suffering themselves. And so it's interesting that the resistance is easily overcome, in part by, the whole compassionate aspect. That's where we win them. But in order to sell to Congress and higher ups and bean counters, you got to show that this is a worthwhile thing. And they treat us a lot like Humvees because if a Humvee breaks, first question they ask is, can we fix it? If the answer is yes, they say, okay, fix it, and then get it back, in service. If it can't be fixed, it gets thrown in a trash pile, and in this case, the trash pile is the VA. But I will say, in defense of the VA, they do mean well. They just are stuck in a broken system. So it really all depends on who you ask. I talk to general officers regularly, and they're very, very open-minded about it because when you have, in our phase 2 trial, 68% of people no longer have PTSD. When they hear those numbers, they don't care what the compound is. They care about results. They care about success. And, the interesting thing for me, on August 6th of this year, I was in Charleston, and there was a shooting a half block from me. I got shot 4 times in the chest. And I ran to do CPR, and it's interesting because I did what the military trained me to do. I compartmentalized everything, and I went and I tried to save the guy. Fortunately, I wasn't successful, but I also had the wherewithal to know that after I got cleaned up and everything, and I was waiting on the detectives, I called Rick Dodd, and fortunately, he was on the phone at that moment with Michael Mithofer, who Michael and ambulance did my DNA therapy. And I did a 45 to an hour therapy session right then and there. And I've actually told that story to a few people in the military, and they've been very impressed, not just because of the resilience that I have, and that this is helping me. But I didn't do MDMA on August 6th. I didn't have to because I knew and I learned through doing the MDMA therapy what I needed to do. That this was a trauma, that I needed to deal with it right then. And I reached out for help. There was no shame, there was no stigma. And it's things like that you learn in this, that when you share your story and you talk about it, that's what breaks down the walls of the stigma. And just real quick, all the veterans in the room, raise your hand. I'm not going to thank you for your service because I know how much we hate that, but here's the thing I will tell all of you. You guys are the tip of the spear. And here's why. You know the healing power that all these medicines have. Being a veteran, you have the unique ability to go up and break down barriers of resistance that other people in this room may not. If you go up to, say, a Tom Cotton or someone who's extremely conservative, some of the people in this room, I mean no offense, I love everyone here, and I'm so proud and glad to be part of this community, but first thought that's going to go through their head is, it's just some hippie who wants to use drugs. But when you have a veteran walk up, they can't say no. They can't say, get out of my face, because you're a veteran. And so, you are the tip of the spear. Talk to your city councilman, talk to your governor, talk to your congressman, talk to your senator. Spread the word to everyone, because you have that unique ability, because the other side respects your service. Use that as a tool to push this forward.
So Marcus, I have a quick question for you. I think we can finish on, and we can open it up for some questions. John's talking about combat commanders who have used these medicines and different people in different positions. When these medicines are legal and available, do you see a future where people in the military actively would get medicine while they're serving?
No. My turn.
it's really interesting how the universe works together. So I got an email right before I came up on stage from a gentleman who was a phase 3 participant. Went through our MDMA therapy. He had been diagnosed with PTSD, and he was also in the Air Force Reserve actually. He went through the therapy and he was healed. And about 2 to 3 months after his final integration session, he deployed overseas into combat, and he had a successful tour. He came back. He's now a psychiatrist, and he's going through the MAPS therapist training to do psychedelic therapy. And the reason I can tell you this is because he actually cleared it with his chain of command, so I can talk about it. So, yes, absolutely, this will become available within active duty. From a compassionate side, from a fiscal side, there's no reason not to. It's not like it's too expensive because it costs a lot of money. It takes what, 3-4 years, about $5 million to create a seal. And if they go operational for 5-6 years and then they can't do it anymore, they've got to replace it with somebody. They're going to spend more time, more money. But that's how the encounters in the Pentagon see it. You know. But the commanders see it very differently. They just want to heal their people.
Yeah, and one of the caveat to that, according to the money we were just talking about, how about 5 brain clinics later at 15 to 20K a pop, plus 7 years of SSRIs, or 1 weekend of Ibogaine in the Toad, right? Yes. Everyone's stealing the mic from me. Just the caveat, it is spreading like wildfire through our community also, and all they're asking is what works. Like, we're tired of trying to figure out, what's out there. We know this works, and now people are interested. People that are up the chain of command, as we talked about, are interested. They say, Marcus, we don't care where it came from. It came from a plant or in a lab. We know it's working, so tell us more, we're interested, right? And so because they're interested, and we're seeing what's happening with cannabis, it's going to happen with psychedelic-assisted therapy. So yes, to answer your question, it's going to happen. Maybe not tomorrow, but eventually, yes.
Even though the wars, thankfully, are winding down, military members will always have to be around explosives for training and whatnot. And there is a ton of trauma, like Marcus said, there's childhood trauma, there's war trauma. What is grossly missed is the head trauma piece. And that is the biggest takeaway that I had from Marcus's Ibogaine experience. So yes, he did deep psychological purging. He was also killing himself with alcohol. He no longer drinks. So the alcohol was perpetuating everything. But the biggest thing that happened was the return of his neurological function. And I believe, I'm not mistaken when I say that every SEAL autopsy brain has come back as having a degenerative brain disease, whether it's blast scarring or CTE. That's similar to that. CTE is what NFL players are largely diagnosed with. And the symptom overlap with PTSD is like exact. So the neurological piece is what's so exciting for me. And even though the war might be winding down and the trauma, experiences might be coming to an end, hopefully, they're always going to have to train. So if there's a neurological benefit, let's call it what it is. Because if you drop your iPhone a million times, there's going to be something that happens to the operating system. You might not see it. You might have a screen protector. It might look great, but there's something physiological that is happening to these guys, and I feel that there's something special with some of these medicines.
Before we go to the Q&A, one last thing. I know both me and Marcus have been talking about combat PTSD, but let's also not forget that you have military sexual trauma, military perform humanitarian missions. They might have to do tsunami in Thailand. They're down in the Bahamas right now, cleaning up Puerto Rico, where they go into these things to help people. But trauma's never going to go away. We're always going to have to train. And the one thing I say, especially to the veterans in the room, but everybody else, If somebody says I have PTSD, never question it because you don't know why. I've got a guy who's suffering from PTSD right now. He never deployed. No military sexual trauma. He was in a rollover. And it took him 30 minutes to get to him. And that whole time, his 3 best friends were staring him in the face and blood was dripping on him. And he gets made fun of and picked on all the time. You didn't deploy. How did you have PTSD? You just want benefits and all this stuff. You don't know anybody's story until you ask. But there's a lot of things that cause PTSD in the military beyond just deploying. So even if the war ended tomorrow, it's still going to exist, just like it does in firefighters and law enforcement, EMTs, trauma doctors, all these different occupations. Everyone experiences trauma.
Let's open up to questions.
Yeah, I would like to thank you so much, first of all, for sharing your stories and your service. From personal experience, I cannot imagine killing or doing any harm to living beings, having gone through my own journeys. So how can we navigate the dynamics when this work can potentially create conflict with military's agenda?
You say, how can we continue to work with that? I know that's an assumption.
So what's the actual question? You're saying?
I am assuming that military is training people to kill other people, but having gone through my own journeys, it's unfathomable to harm other living being. So how can we navigate the tricky dynamic by introducing this therapy to serving people in military?
Excellent question. I'll tell you firsthand, I was never trained in the SEAL teams to kill anybody that was good, ever. I've saved many lives, maybe more than I've actually killed. Every person that we are trained to quote unquote kill or capture is a labeled terrorist. Is someone that has attempted to blow up or kill other people. And so we don't just go out and pull the trigger. And talking to some of the guys that are still active duty, they wish they had access to this because they said, Marcus, if this would give me a chance to just process some information a split second, and I can think about, does this person have a mother, a father, a family? Maybe they would make a different split second decision. When the cards are on the table and there's a lot of smoke and there's a lot of craziness that's going on. But just to be very clear, I tell people I'm still Marcus. If someone came in this room and tried to affect the crowd here, I'm going to go after that person. If there's a person in here trying to kill you and hurt you, they won't even be a split-second decision that I'm not off the stage and on that person. But here I am, I'm healed, I am a better person. Maybe I don't feel the guy who honks at me on the road anymore. So I'm not as impulsive as I used to be. So I hope that answered the question. I think it actually would make it better. It's going to make a better person, that's all.
Hello. Thank you so much for everything that you've done, everything that you're working towards, assisting so many people. The question is for those of us who are having to help people right now in our lives in the state of emergency, where perhaps they haven't been able to get to MAPS yet, but they are currently in the throes of PTSD, trying to kill themselves, things like that. So many of us right now, I think, are having to suddenly become therapists, have to do our part and help. And are there any resources or books or anything that you can suggest so that we can at least be somewhat equipped to at least perhaps keep them, alive until they can get to the MAPS? Any resources, anything that you would offer or think about?
So one thing I tell every veteran and every person who's told me that they've had suicidal ideation, I ask them to take a note card or a business card and write 3 names and 3 phone numbers on it of people that you know will answer 24/7, because somebody might be on an airplane, and that's why you have 3. And if you are that friend and you are on that list, answer the phone. Because when I did what I did, my first attempt, I tried to call people, nobody answered the phone. And one person did, and they said, yeah, I can't deal with this, and hung up. Wow. So just being there is very important. As far as books, I mean, probably even more, one of the greatest books I've found in explaining combat PTSD to people who've never been in the military is a book by Jonathan Shea called Achilles in Vietnam. And he wrote a follow-on book called Odysseus in America. And it's really interesting. He uses Homer's Iliad and Odyssey to explain, one, that PTSD has always existed. It's a human condition. It's a mental injury just as much as a gunshot wound is a physical injury, and it has always existed. But he also explains the moral injury aspect, and he goes into detail using veteran stories. He's a VA psychiatrist in Boston, actually, and I've given it to so many people to read, and they've always come away with like really good information.
Another question?
Yes, hi. I apologize if you talked about this earlier, but I'm curious if you had the opportunity to try any of the plant teachers yourself.
I have not, and I'm going to be the outlier here.
We're working on it.
There are a couple of things that I'll say about that. And I hope no one judges me. I have a really strong faith, and so I get really, really into that. And for me, that is what speaks to my soul, and that's the reason for me that we're sitting up here. This found us, and this has been manifesting in my prayer journals from about 4 years ago, when my life was in complete disarray. So I cannot overestimate the role that faith plays in my life, and that might seem strange to some people, that I'm a Christian sitting up here, but I hope that you view me as a voice of someone who might really be able to help you make change. Because this, I don't think anyone could dispute that something that saves a life, saves a family, saves a marriage, saves other people is a bad thing. So if I can help reduce some of that stigma, then it's an honor to do so. One more thing to that, I'm sure you guys are aware that sometimes this type of work can just be brushed off, and I feel like that can be possible for veterans. Well, they've been to war, they've lost their minds, they've got PTSD. They can't say that about me. I can stand here with a ton of conviction and say, this saved my husband's life. It saved my family. You can't say I'm crazy. You can't say I've got PTSD, I'm going to war. I believe in it, and I'll stand and I'll fight with you guys, and I'm thankful that you have accepted us into your community.
Thank you. And I love to say this because I think this is kind of cool. I have a Christian wife who has a strong faith that is running a nonprofit to raise money and advocate for the use of psychedelic-assisted medicine. Do you think it's freaking working or not? Last question? Quick, we have 12 seconds. 10.
I know a big part of the conversation is a collaboration with the VA, and how can you spearhead that movement from a marketing approach? How do we basically collaborate with filmmakers other people who want to create this, to project this information, to relay it and project outcomes in the best form possible.
Please go online and watch From Shock to Awe, because Max is a fiscal sponsor of the movie, and it's on iTunes and Amazon and Netflix. And that's part of what we're all involved in, is using the cultural format of the media to present these veteran stories to society, and it works.
And also realize a couple of weeks ago, Hawaii 5-0 on CBS was talking about veterans using psilocybin, although that wasn't exactly in the best of places. And I'd love to see NCIS, Blue Bloods, these mainstream shows that middle America watches. The 50-year-old blue collar worker sitting in his recliner. That's how we get that message to those people. So it's not just documentaries, which are great, but it's also getting into the mainstream. And part of this is 6 degrees of separation. We all know somebody. Reach out, talk to people.
We've had a lot of interest in this, and we've turned out everyone so far that's wanted to write a piece or do an interview. Marks and I are going to start sharing our story because we feel like we have now measurable results to stand on. And we just know that this opportunity is very special and we don't want to get it wrong. And so being able to have the outcomes, the anecdotal stories, and all of our shit together is really important for us to start speaking about it.